It is no surprise that in the last days, where hearts growing cold has been foretold, would also include warnings of false doctrines, false teachings, and things that tickle men's ears. Nowadays, it is hard to find a person in this world who has not been deeply wounded or has not been met with trauma. Wounded souls are all around us. And in search for teachings that help numb the pain or distract from these real issues neglected, things that only entertain and draw people away from the truth, these hurting hearts have been tricked and led astray. So now we have a whole bunch of people under deception, still hurting, still confused, but sadly discovering what their ears want to hear. Truth brings real understanding, real correction, and real freedom. As long as people desire to create altars to other so-called gods, they will not be able to see clearly the one true God, Jesus, and discern what is true, separating good from evil. People aren't using proper judgment when false doctrines come before them. They've forgotten to use critical thinking as they weigh what they hear. Instead, they are leaning into what meets their sinful desires. God has become a genie in a bottle, an entity to win over for exchange for a better, but complacent life. With hearts holding impure motives when coming to God, it is no wonder promises of wealth, success, and a life of no pain has drawn them in. Their understanding of what it means to follow Christ is diluted with a lack of understanding of our need to submit and yield our lives to Him. They see no need for their hearts to change, to be healed, to be purified, but only their own selfish needs to be met. Other false teachings bring with them the lure of promising position and titles, puffing up their importance and making them separate, even from so-called lesser believers, if that were even possible. And forgetting when Jesus emphasized the need for us to serve others, placing ourselves in seats of lower positions, finding ourselves in true humility. And still, there are those who chase after experiences, giftings, and supernatural encounters and forget how that creates another form of idolatry that robs them of real intimacy with God. This chasing has the possibility of opening their hearts to evil spirits masquerading as light, because the desire to be known as one who has had a heavenly encounter, to be seen as special and important above others, has kept them from testing every spirit and has enticed them to take hold of any experience as from the Lord. And the idolizing of being held high above others has sadly allowed deception to step in. We cannot remain ignorant of these things and be careless with our discernment. The season that we are walking in does not afford us to do so. We need to know the word for ourselves, understanding it within context, studying the culture and history it was written in, to whom it was specifically written to, and slowly peel away our own biases in what we interpret. We need to give God permission to heal our wounded and broken souls and step into a lifestyle of forgiving often. We need to let go of our past as we heal and lay down those painful experiences before the Lord that have discouraged us from pursuing Him and His truth. And we need to let God point out our wrong motives, choosing to always remain teachable. We need to test what we hear from any teacher of the word and search the scriptures ourselves. We need to observe the fruit being produced by leaders we have entrusted ourselves to, instead of catapulting them to fame because of their giftings and talents. We need to see the hearts of men and women rather than being enthralled by appearances. And we need to remain close to the Lord, creating a real relationship with Him ourselves in order for us to remain sensitive to His voice when He warns us something is wrong.
This isn't meant to encourage a harsh, critical, or religious spirit within us. No, it's meant to bring wisdom, discernment, and understanding to a heart seeking the Lord.
Asking ourselves the hard questions of why we've decided a Bible teacher is right for us to listen to will help us have a clear perspective that's not tainted with our own biases, hurts, and desires not sanctified.
Why do I trust this Bible teacher? What fruit of the Spirit is evident in their lives? Do they represent Christ well with those close to them and those around them? Do they promise things not assured in Scripture? And do they point your eyes to Jesus or themselves?
If you've built a true foundation in the Lord, and if you remain in His Word, and you discover in time the answers to those questions being not what you hoped for, then any Bible teacher, whether false or true, cannot rob you what you have in God. That foundation, being Christ, will secure your bond with Him rather than with any other man or woman. And that will keep you safe from these false teachers and false doctrines.